All right, everybody. Happy Sunday afternoon to you guys. Big weather events coming on the way here for much of the United States. We're going to run over the events that are going to happen today, tomorrow, and through the next couple of days. If you can see on my screen here, we do already have severe weather that is going to be happening today in the Central Plains area. We've got a level 1, level 2, and level 3 risk out of 5 on the severe weather risk scale. This includes a marginal risk from southern Nebraska all the way down to south central Texas. We've got a slight risk of severe weather in Kansas all the way down through Oklahoma City is in that Fort Worth, Dallas area, as well as in that for tonight. And we've also just now added, with the new SPC outlook that came out about an hour ago, a small enhanced risk of severe weather for large hail today in the Woodward, Clinton area here into Oklahoma, northern Oklahoma, and also southern Kansas as well. And there's also a tornado risk with this too. If we go and we break this down very, very quickly here, our tornado risk in the yellow and green shaded areas, on the slight and the marginal, we have a 2% tornado risk from southern Nebraska all the way down through the Fort Worth, Dallas metro area into southern Texas, and a 5% of a tornado risk in Clinton, Oklahoma, west of Oklahoma City area here. We've got Dodge City into this, Leonard. We've got Pratt as well that's into this severe weather risk. So multiple hazards today on the severe weather risk scale. Into the hail risk we go with this. We've also got a 30% hail threat in the red shaded area here in the Woodward area, Medicine Lodge, Alva, Pratt, Clinton, New Cordell as well in that in Oklahoma. We'll be watching out for very, very large hail today in those areas, up to 2 inches in diameter. In the yellow areas, a 15% chance down to Brady, Fort Worth, Dallas area, Wichita Falls, into the central Kansas and northern Kansas, and a little bit of southern Nebraska is into that as well. In the marginal risk, we've got a brown shading area, 5% of a up to 1 inch hail as well for you guys. So hail is going to be the common theme, but also the tornado risk will be there as well, with the low-level jet kicking in around 45 to 60 knots later on this afternoon. We will be going live for this on YouTube and TikTok, so make sure you guys are followed on both and subscribed on both. I appreciate you guys very, very much for doing that. The wind threat for this as well, this is going to be on the low end of things, but we do have a 15% and a 5% risk in both of the risk zones here, marginal through enhanced. So we'll be watching out for damaging wind threat as well with this. Ongoing right now, actually, too, we do have some afternoon or morning time convection, afternoon, early time convection here that's going on. All of this with that low pressure system that's up in the Colorado area right now. We are actually going to get a blizzard out of this, and we'll talk about this here in just a few minutes as well. But isolated showers right now in the Oklahoma City metro area up towards northeast Kansas. This should all move off to the east, northeast, and burn off and clear out, and we'll re-energize the atmosphere this afternoon for our severe thunderstorms to basically get going. We do have some showers and some heavier rainfall up in Iowa right now. Those are non-severe storms, so let's take you guys timing through this here, and we'll see what the radar is putting down as far as what we are looking at for the next couple of hours. And this should start around 3 or 4 o'clock, maybe a little bit after that. We will be, like I said, live streaming for this starting around 2 p.m. Central Time, getting you guys your information you need to know. But rain will develop there, heavier rainfall in northeast Kansas. That'll push off around 4 or 5 o'clock. And then look what happens here, guys. We got our low up here to the northeast. We've got a dry line set up here. Classic time of the year for this severe weather. We've got isolated supercells all across western Kansas down into western Oklahoma and into southwestern Texas here. We'll be watching out for a tornado risk with these large hail and damaging winds around the 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock hour. Once we go throughout the time frame, this is actually not that long of a window in the Kansas and Oklahoma area for severe weather. Most of this should ramp down by 8 or 9 p.m. We could have a couple straggler storms that are still ongoing at this point, but this is really what we're going to be watching for, is that tornado risk to ramp up very, very quickly, the hail threat, and then it should move off to the east. We could have a couple cells, maybe around 9 o'clock or 11 o'clock here, potentially up in central Kansas. It could still be producing some wind and some hail, but as far as that tornado risk goes, it should be starting to weaken down tremendously in that area. Our second round of storms we'll have that develops in Oklahoma, southern Oklahoma and Kansas here, or not Kansas, but southern Oklahoma and Texas. This is going to develop into our severe weather risk for tomorrow. Yes, we have another severe weather risk for tomorrow, Monday. Just came out, actually. We got another enhanced risk for Monday as well. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But southern Oklahoma and central Texas here, south central Texas, going to see some damaging winds, maybe an isolated tornado or two. Really going to be a damaging wind and a hail threat. This should develop around the 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock hours tonight through midnight. This will develop into a line. Could see that damaging wind threat through 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning in the Dallas metro area. Tyler, Longview will be watching out for you. But most of these storms tonight in the overnight hours into early Monday morning should stay sub-severe. There is always that risk that we could have that, but as we go throughout the early morning here, we see that we get a line that really starts to get going around 5 a.m., 6 a.m. down to southern Missouri into northwestern Arkansas, and then this pushing through eastern Oklahoma and Texas, watching out for that damaging wind threat to potentially develop. But really, most of this, like I said, should stay sub-severe as we go through the early morning hours. As we go through the 6 to 7 o'clock time frame, as the sun comes out and we got daytime heating, look what's going on here, guys. This is the key factor to tomorrow's risk zone, right? And let me actually pop up tomorrow's risk zone here for you guys. We do just now, once again, as we are going live, we do have a level 2 risk of severe weather. There is an enhanced risk. Let me pull it up on SBC's forecast because I'm not getting, it's not updated yet with this one. Let me pull this up here for you guys. On the National Weather Service here, SPC website, we just got our level 2 risk, or our level day 2 outlook just came out. We now have an enhanced risk of severe weather in southern Arkansas, southeastern Arkansas, western Mississippi, and northeastern and central Louisiana. This is a hatched 10% tornado risk, meaning we have the chance of a 10%, we have a 10% risk in this orange and shaded area of a large violent tornado tomorrow. And that means EF2, EF3, EF4, EF5 rated tornadoes are possible here in the Shreveport, or not Shreveport, but Alexandria area. We've got Greenville, Mississippi. We've got Jackson, Mississippi, and this as well as some very populated areas. We've also got a wind threat as well here with that. That tornado threat is hatched in the yellow shading there. That's what we really have to pay attention to tomorrow. If any supercells go discrete ahead of the line of storms that pushes east, we could see that strong tornado risk ramp up. The wind threat is at 30% as well with this. Very strong chance of damaging winds tomorrow, and hail is at a minimal. We also have a marginal risk of severe storms in the Iowa area and northern Missouri area as well there for just a damaging wind and a hail threat. Very isolated if any low-top supercells develop with that tomorrow. But we're really going to be eyeing on the southeast once again tomorrow for that damaging wind, large tornado threat, dangerous tornado threat, I should say, and a wind threat as well with that too. That is what SPC has put out. And SBC just updated it actually on the Radar Omega website. So there it is. Natchez, Jackson, Vicksburg, Monroe, Greenville, in that there, Lafayette, and Baton Rouge. You guys are just south of it. We'd still be watching out for some strong storms, but you start to see around sunrise tomorrow morning, we have that line pushing through. Not a lot of storms ongoing here in that risk. And the thought process is with the dew points being as high as they're going to be, with a little bit of instability on the weaker side, we should have enough to support some discrete cells that are ahead of this line, which is going to produce that tornado risk tomorrow. Now, there is a chance that this also doesn't happen if the line gets going quicker, or if we don't get any thunderstorms. It could be just a QLCS tornado risk and we get embedded tornadoes within the line that pushes through. But look at this line develop, guys. If you really watch down towards southern Arkansas, it starts to break up and we get more of these bean-shaped, backward C-shaped, isolated thunderstorms that start to develop. That's really what we're going to be watching out for. That's around 1 o'clock, between 1 and 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Once again, we have a marginal risk that goes from East Texas into Alabama. This will go through the overnight hours tomorrow night as well, into early Tuesday morning. Rain showers that are also up into Missouri. Heavy rainfall in Missouri, potentially into Illinois, northern Illinois as well with this, and into Iowa. Our low should be producing some snow up into the Dakotas and into Minnesota. We'll talk about that here in just a second as well. But there is also the chance that the models have been refiring some storms here in eastern Kansas and Missouri, potentially. Some isolated supercells could produce maybe some small hail if that does happen with that low pressure system moving through. But like I said, it's really going to be focused on Mississippi and Mississippi and Louisiana tomorrow for any discrete supercells that can develop ahead of this line. Once we get to the 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock hour tomorrow, we should be seeing that heavy rain push through Illinois into Indiana, western Kentucky, Tennessee as well. The severe storms should stay just south of the Missouri and Kentucky line. That's what we're seeing right now. Maybe a marginal risk of some hail and some wind up there. There could be a chance that this changes and goes and shifts a little bit further northeast. We'll watch for that tomorrow in tomorrow's update. But you start to see some of these isolated storms that develop behind this line. Could see some hail and some wind, maybe again into, once again, Iowa with that secondary threat up there being ongoing as well. But like I said, watching this line come through tomorrow is going to be very key. Any discrete cells that can develop ahead of this line will have that best chance for producing a strong tornado or very large hail and damaging winds. As we go throughout, we get to the 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock hour. what this starts to do, and this is the first time we've really seen this on the Triple HR run right now, is we get a line from Evansville, Indiana, all the way down through Tennessee, central Tennessee now, getting into central Mississippi, and now getting ready to cross into Alabama. This is that nighttime mode threat. We could have some strong nocturnal tornadoes possible embedded within this line of storms from eastern Louisiana down to Hattiesburg, Mississippi. I wouldn't rule out there being an extension east with this tomorrow, potentially, that slight risk being shifted east, or that enhanced risk with that line pushing off. But this is going to be a pretty small line of storms, very, very skinny squall line, but that QLCS tornado embedded issue, it could be a problem as we go throughout the midnight to 3 a.m. hour on Tuesday morning. Now, this is now 48 hours past. That line really starts to break up. Just seeing some heavy rain here in the Tuscaloosa, Birmingham area. And then we still could be watching for a couple severe storms in the Panhandle area of western Florida and southern Mississippi and Alabama here. There should be there actually has been a day 3 did come out earlier this morning. We do have a small marginal risk of severe weather for Mobile, Alabama, Pensacola, Tallahassee, Dothan, Enterprise, Alabama here. This is going to be for an isolated tornado or two, maybe some damaging wind and some small hail. This could get upgraded to slight on day 3. We'll talk about that if that happens tomorrow or not. We also have on Tuesday as well a small marginal risk of severe weather for most the whole entire state of Indiana. We'll see if this is a wind and a hail threat is what I'm thinking with this. This does go into southern Kentucky, Owensboro, Bowling Green, Elizabethtown, Louisville, Kentucky, Frankfort, Cincinnati, Ohio, Hamilton. But this is a level 1 risk of severe weather. Should just be some damaging wind and some hail with this, with some afternoon thunderstorms that could possibly develop with that low off to the northeast. So we'll be watching that very, very closely on Tuesday as well. But that's really what we're going to be dealing with, guys. We've got a tornado risk today and tomorrow, a very large tornado risk tomorrow potentially down there, a dangerous day for the next 2 days to go. Like I said, we will be streaming on YouTube for this and TikTok, so I want to make sure that everybody gets those notifications. If you see this video, please make sure you have notifications on. Today we'll be live streaming at 2. Tomorrow we'll probably be live streaming early in the morning and then going all day with this. So as far as the tornado parameters go with this, let's take a look at this real quick because I haven't actually looked at this quite yet, at least since I've gotten up this morning. Tornado parameters up into Kansas and Oklahoma today are there as well. Any cells that do develop in that warm sector here could be seeing that tornado risk ramp up, and then we'll watch that go east tonight. There is a small tornado risk with that line that pushes east as well into the morning hours around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. That starts to move through Louisiana, and we start to see that tornado risk ramp up down there in Louisiana, Mississippi, and southern Alabama. That'll push east. We should be limited on the tornado risk as we go throughout Tuesday down in the Gulf there. We'll just watch that. The low up there in Indiana could have a small 2% tornado risk somewhere in here if there is one. That's the thought process with that. As we go and look at the instability as well, our CAPE values, what are we looking at today with instability? And here's the thing about this storm, guys. There's really not a lot of instability. We're on the weaker side. We're not dealing with what we had a couple weeks ago where we had that tornado risk in the Ohio Valley and we had instability all over the place. It's not what we're dealing with. We're barely floating with 1,000 joules per kilogram, which is enough to have severe weather, but not enough to produce widespread severe weather all over the place, which is the good thing with this. But instability goes east with the low, also goes south down here once we get into the daytime heating tomorrow. Like I said, watching for convection, isolated supercells to produce some strong tornadoes, damaging wind, and some hail as well with that down there in Louisiana and southern Mississippi. That'll push east. Could see some secondary heating overnight tonight with that dry line pushing through, that cold front officially coming through, maybe with some isolated cells in Missouri potentially. We'll watch that again as well, but it really looks to be a southern Dixie Alley event, maybe some marginal severe weather into Indiana and western Kentucky and central Kentucky on Tuesday, but really going to be eyeing the panhandle by Tuesday morning of Florida. So that's what I have for you guys on severe weather. As far as the chance of snowfall goes, let's go up here and we'll talk about this and what we have to look like. What is it going to look like after tomorrow and Monday gets here? I know a lot of people want to know that. Let's go ahead and we'll switch over here and I'll pull you guys up here with the models. This is our jet stream, our 300 millibar jet stream here. This is what controls our highs, our lows, basically where all of our storms are going to come from. And you can see the big dip in the jet stream here with our low sitting over the Oklahoma area on Sunday into Monday afternoon. Strong low level or upper level winds here pushing about 100 to 140 knots in the mid to upper levels here. Mid levels a little bit shorter or a little bit weaker on the wind side, but enough to support that severe weather as that goes east. That dip in the jet stream, that low moves northeast. It's out of here by Wednesday. It should be out of here by Wednesday. There could be a secondary storm that comes through potentially on Friday or Saturday down in the Gulf. We'll be watching out for a secondary isolated East Coast severe weather threat, maybe on Thursday and Friday. If we get that out to you guys later in the week, we'll talk about that more then. But past that, looking to March 30th and March 31st here, maybe April 1st, we could have a secondary system come through, a second storm we'll be watching for next week. That could bring some severe weather once again into the central plains and maybe into the Midwest for you guys to start April off. So we're getting into that time frame where tornadoes, severe weather is going to become more and more and more of a topic of a conversation. As far as the snowfall goes, let's talk about the snowfall here that we're going to have. We could have blizzard conditions once again up here into northern Nebraska and the South Dakota area once this low develops tonight. There's going to be a lot of snow flying in the northern plains as well. You can see snow in South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin. That's where we'll be watching for possibly some strong winds with some blizzard conditions up there. We'll talk about that if those blizzard warnings do get issued. That low should move off by Wednesday, like I said, up to I think a half a foot of snow if I've seen in some places. We'll check that here in just a second. Once we get to Wednesday, you can see the blue bars here, the blue lines, the dotted lines here. This is our very, very cold air that'll be kind of just set in place over the central plains once this storm system moves through. We'll be below average in this area here, above average still down here in the southeast. As we transition to that spring-like pattern, that should move off to the northeast by the end of the week. We should be back into a warming trend here for most of the United States as we get into the weekend and start April off. And then we could be looking at that secondary system develop in the southeast as we go through the first week of April. As far as our snow totals go, let me get you guys that because I know that's something what a lot of people want to see here in the central plains and northern plains. Snowfall totals through Friday here. We'll look at this, guys. We could see up to a foot of snowfall there and Minnesota into eastern South Dakota there, into potentially even into central and northern Nebraska on the northwestern side of the low there. As we go through, let's target this area here. As we go through Wisconsin here as well, northwestern Wisconsin getting into that foot to a foot and a half of snowfall there. So there will be some big snowfall totals once again from this storm system that comes through tomorrow, Monday, and today, tomorrow, and Tuesday. We'll be watching out for that as well. If you get snowfall totals or any severe weather reports, please let me know, guys. Send them in to me and we'll have a look at those. If you have pictures as well, make sure you guys send them to me as well. I'll put them up on the live stream for you guys throughout the next couple of days, but that's what we'll be looking at as far as the snowfall goes. Like I said, we will be live on TikTok and YouTube today at some point. YouTube is planned for 2 o'clock, so make sure you guys have your notifications set on for that. But other than that, guys, one more thing I will mention to you as well. Make sure you guys go set up and check out the Mesomat WX website here. We've got merch in the item shops as well here too. Hoodies, hats, t-shirts, phone cases, stickers, all of that stuff. We're continuing to add more stuff to it. So if you guys want to place any orders, feel free to just fill out this form, send your payment through. We'll get you guys that out and we'll get it sent out to you guys for appreciating and supporting the streams. But other than that, guys, as always, I appreciate y'all for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys on the live stream today. Appreciate y'all for watching.